Alright, walk and talk. Woo, messy. It's kind of wet and rain. And power went out today again. Gotta get a generator, just no doubt about it. Just happens way too often. So anyway, yeah, everything's kind of fucked up. Anyway, busy 2 weeks coming up. Lots of jobs that must get done. So anyway, I don't know, videos, who knows? Might make hundreds, might make none. We'll see. Anyway, Bark Lord did an alright video, you know. It was kind of generous of him. But the comments on the video were just garbage. So, you know, it says antinatalism stuff. And, you know, people are still using really, you know, arguments that we've already dealt with, and they just keep spouting them like they haven't been refuted, like, entirely and completely. And, you know, it's really hard to make any progress in that kind of environment, especially when people who know better agree with it, like Barklord. I mean, he says some things that are pretty horrible on other videos, and he agrees with stuff that's just nonsense, and he just knows better. He's heard better, so he has no excuse for it, really. So anyway, I'll read a little bit here. Perhaps if you have some of your associates could provide some substantial evidence that suffering in life actually outweighs or outqualifies the enjoyment of living, then antinatalism might actually become something worth consideration. Until then, most of us, nihilist or indifferent, it remains so much fluff and empty assertions. Yeah, I mean, it's just so, that is such an empty and meaningless assertion. You know, resorting not only first to popularity, most of us, yeah, most of you have grown up in religiously dominated cultures that certainly have the artifact of that nonsense haunting them. Most of you, you know, we haven't had the nuclear bomb for 100 years yet. I mean, there's so many circumstances that have radically changed the world in terms of what's philosophically reasonable. We now have these digital cameras all over the place, and yeah, guess what? How come UFOs, they're just never around anymore? They must know we have cameras, huh? So, I mean, come on, it's all bullshit. Yeah, there was some better part there. I don't know why I didn't print right, but I'm not going to worry about it. So anyway, another guy refuted him pretty good, but basically making similar type arguments. But look, the burden of proof isn't on us. It's not our job to explain why life is suck. It's your job as the aggressors, as the defenders of the imposition, to explain how you are so confident enough to impose, confident enough to say, I'm going to write off, you know, 1/3 of the population who will be depressed, or, you know, 1/10 of the population that'll be horrifically depressed. I'm going to write those individuals off and fuck them over to get what I want, because what I want is so great, so fantastic. There's just no doubt about it. It's worth doing. And that's the argument you haven't made, and you won't be able to make it, because it's made out of nothing. All you're saying is, I like sushi. All you're saying is, you know, whatever the game is. I had a few joy moments in my life, and because of that, I'm going to defend every horror that's taken place on Earth, because it was just so cool. And it's just a silly argument. Preposterously silly. Anyway, it's a violation. It's simple. You're kidnapping a percentage of the population, exposing them to harm, and you're doing it for some justification, and you can't articulate it. That's kind of all the bullshit. Alright, here we go. Perhaps it would be sensible for the ANers to advocate that parents who really want to procreate only have one child. This presumably would have the benefit of one child as well, as ANs wouldn't come off as so inflexibly demanding. People don't like being told to do something in a condescending way. Well, that's too bad. That's what you have to do with retards. Especially when it comes to what is regarded as a personal choice, like having a child. Yeah, whatever. And that comes from this guy, Daniel Comments guy, who is just such a cunt weasel. Yeah, your advice is totally irrelevant, because you're an idiot and a moron. So who would take your advice? Only an idiot and a moron. So fuck off. I mean, realistically, there's no point in saying, well, here's a principle, violate it only halfway. What sense is that? It's silly. So you're just saying, be a politician, be liars. Cheat the argument some more. We don't need to in the first place, I don't think. In the second place, what's the point? What's the point of defending a truth if you can't do it with integrity? Fuck that. I wonder if there are any happy antinatalists. A stupid question. Somebody answered it with, I wonder if there are any happy natalists. Statistics do demonstrate that people do have some regrets, often, when it comes to their childbearing. This is pretty much irrelevant. Antinatalism failure is a foregone conclusion. Here we go. Religious people will completely ignore it, and the religious people are going to die out philosophically. As soon as freedom gets to these people, they're going to itch for a more rational description of reality, and we can see that in the world, except for the world we're closing off, that we're turning into thems and locking behind fences, essentially. Go the same way as the Shakers did. They'll non-procreate themselves into extinction. End of movement, end of story. Yeah, and Barklord said something like, true that. And it's just so funny. Qualification. One major difference from Shakers. No elegantly simple furniture left behind to wow the viewers of the Antiques Roadshow. Bummer. I wonder why that it didn't show up in the comments, but it printed. But anyway, but the stupid argument. Antinatalists do not give birth to antinatalist retard. Okay, Shakers were a small community like a Mormon or something. They bred prolifically at first, and then they didn't breed at all. And they didn't convince anybody to join them because they were all whack jobs. Alright, so they didn't earn it. The difference here is there's a bunch of these antinatalists right here on YouTube. Alright, they were all bred by people who weren't antinatalist. And they discovered the philosophy honestly. They came to it honestly. Unlike you frauds who are just mimicking and mouthing status quo rhetoric. That's been the jargon of the human race for 10,000 years. We is great. We is super. We is God bestowed. You're the phonies and the fakes. Like the Shakers. You got nonsense as a fundamental philosophy, and we just haven't gotten around yet to exposing it for what it is. So eventually, the status quo, the popular belief is going to be that life is profoundly fucked up, and you really don't have much excuse for doing your own little biological experiments and taking risks with other people's welfare. And then you're going to be frowned upon and sanctioned like the loonies you are, and you're going to be the silly cult. So fuck you. Ha ha. History's going to bury you, fucker. That's just the truth. If we survive long enough, if we don't get buried by the silly, unsustainable nonsense you jackasses have committed us to. You pro-natalers, your pro-choicers have got us on a planet with 7 billion people who hate each other, basically. I don't understand the point of arguing with antinatalists. Their position is never going to be widespread and therefore is pointless. So again, a fucktarded prediction by an asshole who responds to such things as vegetarian with, I like chicken. He's just a selfish pig. So what is your, why should your opinion of pointlessness mean anything to me? We're not going to have to convince idiots like you. We'll just throw you in the trash. A much better idea would be to focus on ways to minimize suffering that lead more productive and less destructive lives. Well, you can't do that. Your response to those kind of questions is, I like chicken, you pig. We should work towards a better future instead of simply giving up. Genocide is not the answer. Well, genocide isn't the what's being proposed. A deliberate, willful concession to reality is what's being proposed. That people just give up the nonsense. You know, and quit pretending they're doing something here that they're not doing. Sorry. Decided to keep my feet dry, so I'll have to take my shoes off. So again, you're not making an argument for why life is worth perpetuating. You're not unexplaining the pitiful origins, which is a DNA molecule replicating, competing with itself, which is should be a little bit obnoxious to anybody with any kind of brain. That does seem kind of silly. Not even just silly, it seems insanely stupid. But that's essentially the system. Brother against brother. Kind against kind. Because of subtle differences that really shouldn't make a difference. And that's how... Whoa. Whoa. Ow. A little rough on the feet, but I made it. Let's see, where was I? Slowing me down. Yeah, so look, the biology is crap. The origins are crap. The purpose is crap. The function is crap. We have to, if you're going to argue that this is the good game, you have to argue from something more than I'm hungry. Because the argument being rationally made by people with a brain is that your hunger is a contrivance of that molecule. It's not something rationally constructed. It's not a thinking man's hunger. It's not like a hunger for justice or a hunger for something logically understood to be a good. It's a base, crude hunger made merely out of your ego and your tendency to be non-defeatist, which as a tendency is fine, but as a philosophy is again nonsense. Survival for the sake of survival is a moron's pursuit. We have to do better than that. And the evidence is that not only are there huge obstacles to that, as just a practical matter, we've run into them for 10,000 years. We just ain't going to do it. The better of humans just isn't going to show itself because we get too angry, too frustrated, too all those negative things to get the job done. See what else. And there's too many cults, there's too many shakers, there's too many whack jobs like yourself who are going to stand in the way, who are going to, you know, thumb your nose at rational conclusion and keep pretending you can live irrationally, unsustainably, and destructively, you pig. Anyway, where else I want to go with this? I mean, it is an important point that these people aren't dealing with, is that there is no, they're not making arguments, because like I say, every argument will have to be a subjective argument about how they feel, not about how they understand, because they just can't undo the fact that it is an imposition and that it is risk, that they are in fact gambling with something's welfare, and on that ground alone it's unethical. And then there's the more, I think, let's see, less dramatic argument. I don't know how to put it. I mean, it's the two sides of this sword, and they're both cutting the right way. One's the imposition argument, but one's the fundamental argument that life is not a game that can be engineered. All right, yeah, that was in one of the comments. Somebody said something about it'd be easier. Oh yeah, Barkload, I think. This silly notion, again, has been raised that procreation is some sort of natural instinct. No, it's a cultural instinct, and that's all it is. It's a manifestation of culture, not a manifestation of biology. Biology says sex. Biology doesn't say baby. The idea of babies is completely a cultural phenomenon. Substantially, let's say, just an addiction, a personal cultural preference, a lifestyle preference that's built on a notion. It's the way my mommy and daddy did it. It's like liking your mother's cooking more than somebody else's mother's cooking. It doesn't have anything to do with anything real. It's crap. So that argument's illegitimate on its face. Going deeper into that argument of what's easier to unravel, even if procreation was a biological instinct, wanting or needing to have babies to be happy, was actually a physical reality, because you had some horniness for the baby and not some horniness for the vagina. It still would be easier to get over that one flaw than it would be to get over all the other vices that are driving the human race into shit. Again, people can talk a much better game than they can play. When push comes to shove, you're going to shove and push. It's going to be hard for principles to win when you can see the goal line and see a way of getting there, even if it's slightly unethical. We start compromising. As soon as our own ass is on the line, our principles get compromised. We see it in human behavior. I wouldn't go so far as to say, with those people who say things like power corrupts absolutely, absolute power corrupts absolutely. I don't believe that, but it does corrupt. It does tend to want to influence, and that tendency, that influence, is pervasive on so many levels. At our roots, we are schemers. That's what we're made to be. We're individuals at our root, and those roots will be revealed when there's some stress, and we will do what we have to do to protect ourselves. It's hard to be truly altruistic. Very difficult. So anyway, I'm just saying that giving up the notion of some, I'll be better off if I have a son or a daughter and I leave them behind to die of cancer. That notion is so easy to get rid of, in my opinion, compared to getting rid of the avarice, the want, the ego, competition nature of the human animal. So I think you're just deluding yourself preposterously to argue that it's so much easier to fix the problems in the world. The problems in the world exist because of human beings, not because of some external force. It's because of human recklessness, human irresponsibility, and most importantly, human selfishness. And it's a small tribute to pay, a small tax to pay to give up the idea of having children compared to the other comforts that people are exploiting each other to get. Good luck trying to unravel that, trying to socialize or make the game fair in that bigger picture. What the hell is that in the bottom of that stream? Looks like it's moving. I believe it's just a piece of garbage. Okay, they're not going to ignore it. People. Yeah, sorry, this video is a bit of a mess. The walk has taken much longer than it usually does. Now we'll shut up. People. So annoying. I don't know why they let them out. A bunch of extra natals that shouldn't have been natalized. Yeah, I mean more little natalites. Anyway, so yeah, it's just a bogus argument. So again, you're not denting anything here. And you're certainly not dealing with the reality.
Where's Randolph? This way?
Randolph? Yeah.
That way?
Yeah, just keep going. You'll crash right into the firehouse. Yeah. Bike riders. Well, we don't know where we're going. Jeez, good plan, fella. That's the kind of slop. That's what people do. I don't know where the hell I'm going. Where the hell's the town? What town is this? Where am I? What am I doing? You're on a bicycle, asshole. Shit, you ought to figure out where you're going. Anyway, especially with the internet and all, you could Google map me. Whatever. Yeah, so you got to deal with the physical realities. And so if you're going to deny evolution, going to deny abiogenesis, going to deny that it's a reproducing, replicating DNA molecule, well then go ahead. And then you can talk all this gibberish. So just say it overtly, that you have some kind of sincere doubt about the physics and the biology, the origins of the device, and what it's capable of. But I don't think I don't think you can defend that position with any facts. The facts are pretty clear of what we are and what this game is. We're just, flesh-covered bugs. It's all the same kind of game. We have this better intelligence, but it's being abused, by an individual, selfish organism that's going to just tend to use it as a scheming device to get what it personally wants. And that's a huge liability. Anyway, yeah, enough of a video. This was a kind of a pain in the ass walk. Puddles. So, till the next time, and such. At least the sun came out. I don't know if that's going to help any. So I have to work inside. But anyway, I'll help the outside stuff. So, it'll be the next time, and so forth and whatnot.